from Julio Cruz and Gaylord Perry to Alvin Davis and Harold Reynolds to father and son back-to-back bombs, from Junior J, Joey, and Edgar with Randy, A-Rod, Dan, and the Sheriff, to Ichiro Moyer and Mikey C, to King Felix, Kyle Cruz, and Cano, to the present with Julio, Gilbert, Kirby, and Cal. I don't believe it. It just continues. My, oh my, it's another sports podcast.
Is like going to the range like a Sunday thing for you, or is it just whenever you're like, fuck it, I'm gonna go today?
I just like to go at least once a weekend just to do something that's tough. You know, I love all the different sports. Way too old to actually play basketball anymore. I play a little bit of horse, but Lord knows I cannot guard a chair at all, bro. But I love going to the range. The weather is shitty in Washington a lot of the time, so you're not going to want to go golfing either. And just going to your local driving range is a cheap, fun option, and I just love it. And that's what it comes down to, though, bro. And I actually played Twilight with my brother last night, and overall, I did horrible. At a par 3 where it's guarded by a pond, I proceeded to hit 2 straight into the pond. And so that's why I was feeling really bad for a couple of these golfers. Bryson DeChambeau, one of the best on the entire planet, fell apart today under the pressure. Ya boy, though, talk to me, man. There's a lot of history behind this, but like I was saying off mic, bro, if you can pick the outright winner for any golf tournament, even if it's a favorite, oh, that shit's sweet.
I'm not gonna say it was easy. It sure as hell wasn't easy, especially with the way he started on Thursday, and then to battle back Friday and Saturday to walk off the 18th with the lead. DeChambeau scared the shit out of me. I thought DeChambeau was for sure going to chase him down, and then right off the gate gives up 3 strokes, and sure enough, Bryson's in the lead. But you know, it all happened to work out. We'll get into that a little bit later. I see our first participant in the chat today is our homeboy Texas Power Ranger. How you doing, dog? You doing okay? I just want to let you know that your friends here at My Oh My, it's another sports podcast. We care for you, man. I don't want you to do anything drastic today, although you're going to have a hard time sitting down with that broom up your ass, courtesy of the Seattle Mariners.
I mean, let's be real. We know our franchise has been inept to mediocre. So if you get swept by us, man, oh boy, that's gotta really hurt. I know where we stand, but shit. Texas ain't a joke though. The Mariners have actually played some good baseball lately.
We sure have. Who would have known that all it would have taken was a matchup with them Texas boys for us to really show that we could actually do some playing this year? I remember saying on Monday night it was a bad night for teams from Houston because Houston Cougars sure did fall apart at the end. And you want to talk about a collapse? I guess it started there. And then, we take 2 or 3 from the Astros, and then the Rangers come in, and oh man, bad time to be a team from Texas coming up to the Pacific Northwest. But I'll take it. I'll take it all day.
Okay. Let's do a quick rewind then, bro. Let's do a quick rewind because we know we're gonna get heavy into Mariners and Major League Baseball, heavy into the Masters. But shout out to our super producer Indy, and I also want to give a huge shout out and hope that everybody who was affected from all the flooding, all the tornadoes down south, I hope you're doing the best you can be. We were unable to go live last Sunday night. RG was doing his major overnight grind, but a huge factor too is Indy had to go help his mom. There's damage to their house, damage to their vehicles, damage to their roads. Flooding got up to the lower cabinets at their home. It was that bad. Everybody is okay. We want to give a huge shout out to Indy and all of his family and all of the people affected by this floods, but that is why we were not here last week. But I digress, RG. How big of a collapse was that at the end of the game for Houston to not even be able to get a shot up, get stuck in the air. I feel so horrible for that young man because his career might be defined by that one shitty moment when he's been balling his whole life.
And he wasn't having a great game either. He's their deep threat from the perimeter and was 1 for 7 at that point. And they get him a look. We need you to get this ball fired off, and he jumped, and I believe he was surprised by the athleticism of the guy guarding him, and didn't realize that he would meet him at the apex, and just had no choice but to let the ball go, and then tried his best to keep the defender from getting it. Because if he touches it again, that's a travel. Florida dives on it. That's the end of the game. What a just a heartbreak watching how they battled back in that game against Duke to be down and go on a 13 what was it, 13-5 run with 2 minutes left in the game to knock out Duke, and then to have a chance to get Houston that Final Four championship that they have long sought after. And tough way to go, tough break for them. I had picked Florida, so I was happy that Florida had won out, but just, dude, I feel for young people like that sometimes, man. But it's why we play the game. It's why we play the game. You celebrate victory the way that you do because you never know when that moment is going to fade. And from being on top of the world Saturday night to wanting to bury yourself up underneath it, feel for that young man. But hey, man, sports is sports.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, congratulations to the Florida Gators. Third national championship, and they have three now in this century. That's probably going up against almost any other program. We're 25 years into this thing now. We can really start saying who's been on runs this century. Shit, Florida's up there with all of them right now.
It is, man. Back only team that have gone, most recent team that gone back to back, and now you come through. What the SEC was really good in basketball this year. Sent 14 teams to the tournament. Had teams scattered all over the top 15. So for people to think that it was dying off just because they've gone 2 years without a football championship, they could be in a position where they might end up dominating all of it. Look at the baseball rankings right now in college. SEC teams all over the top 25. That is a very good conference with a lot of very good programs who have a lot of money to spend. So that the people who were trying to write them off just because they haven't won a football championship might want to be careful, because we can look up here and they can hold all the Infinity Stones.
We know that the talent's there. You gotta get it at the right time. Speaking of getting it at the right time, man, honestly, I know it was only a week and a half into the season, but bro, we were 3-7 at one point, our beloved Seattle Mariners, and it was the brand of baseball was somewhat ugly. I was honestly really, really worried this team might be one of the shittiest in the league. We're still only 2 weeks in, so what do we really know? But they've gone from 3-7 to 8-8 RG. Your boy Logan Gilbert's probably the MVP of the team right now, for Pete's sakes, by stopping the bleeding when we are hemorrhaging. But just tell me about the anything you think from the early part of the season, how we were so bad so early, and have at least surged back to being a respectable point to keep fighting this season.
Finally got his first win of the season today.
Damn.
On what, his third, fourth start. Finally got his first outright win of the season today. It was a good week. It wasn't the greatest week that we probably could have asked for. We did end up taking two major losses in position players, and I still can't get over the way that played out in San Francisco. It looked a lot worse than what it was. Uh, and to have him carted off the field like that after he made such a fantastic catch. But the bats finally woke up, and situational hitting happened to show up. And Randy Arozarena has been doing his thing. Julio got a couple out of the yard this week. Cal's bat finally woke up. Finally putting good wood back on the ball. And I know the craze is the torpedo bat, but the torpedo bat doesn't do anything unless you still can make contact with the ball. And we finally went back to making contact with the ball, and we're able to go 5-1 on the week and get us up in the third place. We've played the Astros well over the last 2 years. And I believe now we have a winning record over them if we combine all those games over the last 2 years. So we we play Big Brother really well. It was the other team in Texas that I was having my qualms about, but hey, we put them down this weekend. Absolutely needed to. Now, does the result of a game on April 14th absolutely mean that we're about to go on a tear and take over the division? Absolutely not. But what it does show is that when capable, we can play really good baseball. And thank God we finally found a way to make it work and just hopefully helps build confidence for those guys in the clubhouse and can keep pressing forward onto this series in Cincinnati.
Yeah, no doubt, man. It is refreshing to see the Mariners, like you were saying, make some contact again. There's just so much luck in baseball. To a man, almost everyone that's ever played at any level, their hardest hit, if it didn't go over the fence, is an out. Their weakest bloop always turns into a single or double. You got to put the freaking ball in play, bro. But I know this stat isn't sexy. It's not even middle of the pack. But our Mariners, man, the last few years, we are number one in strikeouts, and by a huge margin. We're at 22nd now this year. That's actually a pretty good improvement. It's not good, but when you're the worst, at least get into that bottom third is a jump we need to see, and we're second in walks. So there is a
Very
couple
good.
of good things trending. There's a couple of good things trending for this team. Mariners lifer, I was just gonna say Mastroboni. He is having great plate appearances. His average is over 300. The dude is versatile, and even if you're as great as the Dodgers in terms of money spent and star power, RG, every team needs a couple of random dudes to come up big if they want to have a big season.
Shit, how'd that star power go for the other night?
Yeah, no doubt.
Absolutely, man. But that's just what baseball is. It's a extremely long grind. The hardest thing in sports to do is to hit that round ball with that round bat, with that ball coming at you at 99 miles an hour. Baseball is extremely difficult to be good at and to have good stretches to be good at it for so long. Even with us climbing from the depths of strikeouts, we're still only hitting 210 as a team. So we're still hovering around the Mendoza line as far as average goes. And we had a really good week, but we need to make it consistent. If as a team we could hit somewhere around 275, that probably could get it done for us. And to definitely cut down on the strikeouts, increase the walks, be a little bit more patient at the plate. You look at a guy like Juan Soto today, who didn't get a single hit, but he draws 2 walks. The guy's always on first base just to find patient at bats to where you having someone on the bump isn't as having someone down at first isn't as detrimental to your health as it seems to be with us sometimes. We just need runners in running and scoring position and get the guy to first. And with the new increased sizes and bases, still something. Even Miss Garver got a steal the other day that started a rally. Just for God's sakes, man, just making sure we have a runner on first every inning. And just taking more patient at bats as we move forward. But it was a good week for the Mariners. Not gonna front. Real happy that the LOG, the OG, the DO double G finally got his first win. I'm the biggest proponent for Logan Gilbert that you ever meet. I will tell you till I die, he's going to win a Cy Young. I just hope he wins it in the Pacific Northwest.
Amen, brother. Amen. We also got to give a huge shout out to Luis Castillo. I'm even going to shout
Which
out
one?
the Pebble.
Which one?
The Pebble. Luis F. Castillo is going to get a small shout out because it was not sexy what he did at all. In fact, if you just looked at the numbers, you would say he sucks because I believe that's 7 innings and 7 runs, RG. But his job was to just eat up some innings and not crush us because we were at a point. Emerson Hancock can't even finish an inning. Our bullpen is looking absolutely shredded. Like not even 2 weeks into the season, he is able to provide a little bit of grit and toughness and determination. 7 innings. He's going to have the worst ERA in the league nearly, but 7 innings we desperately needed. Luis Castillo, though, he is pitching like the guy we need him to be this year. Brian Wu stepping up big time. All three of the pitchers we just referenced, RG, have an ERA below 3. We need to see some more from Bryce Miller, though, bro.
Absolutely. And as the season goes on, I believe that Bryce Miller will get it figured out.
Mm-hmm.
We definitely need that rotation to keep us in games. I'm not a big proponent of tooting the horn for quality starts, but we definitely need those guys to be able to keep it within reach. Because there are times where our offense is completely anemic and can't seem to get anything done. And we actually won a tight, low scoring game in the midst of this victory week that we've had, as we'll call it. Just again, it's extremely early, but we did battle back to 500. So now we're back to even. It did cost us 16 games to be able to get there. Still a good, healthy portion of the season to be able to go. And hopefully we can pick on the Reds when we get up to Cincinnati.
Yeah, no doubt, man. No doubt. So there's a couple of stats I love to look at all year, dude. And it helps me just see where the team is as a whole and then where we're going in the future. The Mariners are leaving 6.7 on per game, which isn't good, but it's better than it's been. But alarmingly, dude, they're 144 average with runners in scoring position. Now, the optimist is going to tell you there's nowhere to go but up. But man, I'm looking at also, okay, in the 12 inning loss versus Houston, where it was only 2-1 RG, they were 1 for 19 with runners in scoring position. We talk about every game matters. We know that because our teams, 3 out of the last 4 years, we missed the playoffs by 1 game. That's how much we know it is. You lose 2-1, 1 for 19 and runners in scoring position. Those are games you can't get back, but could be critical at the end. So our guys need to do a better job of knocking dudes in. But hey, our pitching's holding us afloat. And shout out to most of the bullpen. Carlos Vargas, I've been tooting his horn for a couple of years, dude. He is finally being what I thought he could be. Uh, Andres Munoz, absolute money. Absolute money. I will count on that guy anytime. I got a question for you, though. We have somewhat of a first base problem. We have Roddy Telez. We have Donovan Solano. Both of them are struggling for the most part. Ty Locklear is hitting over 300 with a great OPS at Tacoma right now. What would be your leash on taking out the veterans and bringing the young guy up? How long would you ride like this?
Probably May 1st. Get to Cinco de Mayo, get some good tequila in our system, and just look at the board and say, fuck it. That probably would be as far as I would go with it because we do need production. We do need production that is going to be our Achilles heel is having band-aids on the corner. We need solid production from one of them. If we can't get it from both first and third, then we need to bite down our mouthpiece and decide what we're going to do to go after someone who can play the corners and produce at the plate. I'm not going to harp on what we should have done in the offseason because there's nothing we could do to go back to change that. Oh, maybe there's a trade that he might have his eye on that he might be working as we come down the months that we have to the trade deadline. But we definitely need better production from what we're getting at first base. I knew that, especially with Rowdy, that he was going to absolutely be a retread project, that he was nowhere near the offensive juggernaut he was when he played for Milwaukee. I'm still happy to have him because it gives us at least a threat from the left side of the plate every time that he does get up. Just wish he could do a little bit more making contact.
Oh man. One thing's cracking me up. Tyson Baxter's laughing at us because he's wondering who the hell Masterboni is. We had to Google Miles Masterboni when he signed him this offseason too. And guess what? When your favorite team's offense is so inept most of the time, sometimes a dude like Masterboni is the one leading your league in hits, not serving you up your favorite dish of pasta, bro.
I mean, man, if he can go on ahead and whip me up a nice chicken carbonara, I'll go on ahead and take 2 of them as well too. But that's what it's going to be. It's that just seems how we are going to just make it through what we have. We'll pull some guys up out of our system, and we're all going to get the Snoop Dogg meme of who the hell is that guy? But hey, as long as they come up and perform, that's really all we need. We know that we're financially strapped, and we're never going to be able to go out and make the big splash under this regime, even though they wanted us to believe that moving for the 3 of the last 4 seasons. But as long as we get production from whoever we have up, it'll be okay. But then we're also going to need the guys who we have paid to go on ahead and have years like we have paid them.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. It is a little frustrating, but I'm with you, man. And you know what? I think that we can still expect this to be a winning team that can go to the World Series even under this payroll. It just there's the margin for error is so little. Because if Jerry Dipoto had a more perfect off season or two in a row, this team really could be in business. Let's
True.
not forget, dude, they have $30 million this season wrapped up in the double Mitchwich and Donovan Solano. You could have pulled that money to one player and gone a completely different route instead of trying to retread your way into 3 different maybes. So, as much as I support Jerry, I think he needs to be on the lukewarm to hot seat, bro, because there is a lot of meat on the bone that we're leaving out there. And we can't, when you're a middle class team, you can't be just messing around with the money like that. It's got to work.
Absolutely true. Man, we don't want to be in the situation where one of the teams in front of us happens to get hot, or one of the teams that actually can afford to make a move happens to make that move and we don't. We don't want to be caught wishing with it. But right now, to be 16 games in the position, we're middle of the pack, 8-8. Finally had an offensive resurgence over the last few days, minus the 12 inning outing. It's as good as a spot that we could ask to be in without having Kirby a part of the rotation, and then plus losing Bliss, um, plus losing Bliss in that horrific injury in San Francisco.
Yeah, no doubt. Another optimistic point of view too is bringing back or getting back Matt Brash is going to be huge. Troy Taylor was showing major promise, so I think this team can start to do some work. It's just simple. We could go on forever. The bats need to come alive consistently, but I've been pumped watching Mariners baseball recently, dude. It's that simple.
Well, it's been fun to follow. Like I'll openly admit, I was caught up more in the golf over the weekend, just because I
Yeah.
get that way when there's a legitimate chance to win, to have some paper that was put on the line. But it was definitely good to see us find runs. And even when we got up and Texas made their comeback, and it was like, oh God, here we go again. Just have to have an answer to battle back in. One of the things that I heard over the week that I liked was adversity is a privilege. And we definitely handled it a lot better this week in these games than we had in the past against Houston and Texas. So let's keep rolling with it. The schedule is not going to get friendly for us. We do got Cincinnati, then we're going to go up to Toronto, and then we got Boston. And I don't know if you got to see any of Garrett Crochet today. That dude flirted with a no-no for a very, very long time. And good to see that guy get a chance to pitch for a better organization than him wasting his life away in Chicago. But yeah, if I think the way that's going to run out is we are going to run into him sometime next week. So definitely got to be prepared.
Well, it's a good thing they already sent Canzone back down then, dude, because that guy does not look like he's ever seen a lefty before.
The Dom father, man.
It was another great attempt by our GM Jerry Dipoto, and I just want to express I'm so disappointed for Ryan Bliss the person though, because he's got so much competition within the organization behind him that has higher rankings. Whether you should play the guy via rankings or not, we know how the story normally goes. But Ryan Bliss was showing a little pop. He's showing a little speed, and above all, bro, his lateral side to side quickness in the infield. I fucking love it.
Absolutely, man. To be able to chase down the ball up the middle, chase to his left, chase to his right. The dude has some great athletic ability out there on the field, and we do wish him the best in his recovery. He's probably going to be out all year. Hopefully, he can come back and not have any step backs in the progression of his career because he had finally made it to where he wanted to made it, had a starting position, and just hate to see somebody fall like that.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Well, we know there was a much bigger event going on this weekend. Before we dive in, is there anything else on the Mariners you want to get at real quick?
Um, Something about baseball, but I'll save that for a little bit later on in the program.
Okay, that works. That works.
All
Well,
right. So the
y'all
homies in
know.
the live chat are having a little bit of fun without us, man. Having a little bit of fun without us. I know someone mentioned Baltimore having all that firepower and being off to a 6-9 start. I say the same thing, man. It's still early, and I know that what was it, your catcher? Right, I still can't say his last name properly, but Adley had probably missed a couple games. And then you just kind of got unlucky in some of those games you had against Boston earlier in the season. But it's still early. It's too early to overly panic. I'm going to overly panic about the Mariners because I think a lot of the problems that we have could have been fixed by spending money. But you guys still got a good young team, and the AL East is the premier division. So, you'll be okay. You'll be okay as you move forward.
Yeah, no doubt. It's still so early too, and I think it's kind of a wide open league this year. It's a time for someone to capitalize on the American League side. There is definitely some definitive better teams in the National League, but I definitely think the AL is kind of up for grabs across the board.
Sure is. And, talking about a hot young team, who would have thought that the Nationals would be
Whew.
off to the start that they are, man? Playing some really good baseball there in the nation's capital.
Dude, our despised Anaheim Angels are playing some decent ball out the gate too. So
They
there's
are.
always a couple surprise teams, but we got to see how this thing rolls. I was gonna bury our Mariners, dude, at 3-7. I was so frustrated, and now here I am, just kissing them up. So you know how this goes if you love baseball.
True. I mean, we've talked about the schedule, but you wouldn't have believed me if I'd have told you we'd be at Jackie Robinson Day and the Nationals would have a better record than the Braves. But the division that's hot right now is the NL West. We
Whew.
we can't debate that. The Padres are just killing it at home, keeping pace with the evil empire up the 5 freeway from them, and then you continue to take the 5 up north. The Giants, man, are just playing great baseball as well too. I happen to like it when the NL West is competing like this because then I could just take a quick trip to Phoenix and watch them play some competitive games and come in and do something well with it. But if we couldn't ask for a better start to the baseball season.
Yeah, no doubt. I just want to add that the LA Dodgers and San Diego Padres have developed a little bit of a rivalry lately, but there's absolutely no question that it's good for the health of the league if the Dodgers and the Giants are both good in the same year.
It is. It really, really is. Now you talk about the Padres Dodgers rivalry. It's been there. Just the Padres hadn't done enough to make enough noise to make anyone outside of Southern California pay attention to it. And now they have. I mean, let's be honest with it. They were 3 innings away from putting the Dodgers out of the playoffs last year. They,
Yeah.
they're a good team. They're a good team. I know us in Seattle. We were ranking on them when they made the move for Soto and didn't do shit with him. Got rid of Soto, and then they've had a really good they've had a really good team since they lost Juan Soto. And we just I believe that we made fun of them because we wish that our owners spent like that. But it's
Oh
early,
yeah.
early a good start. And if you're a fan of whoever you're a fan of, enjoy it. We still got a long way to go, even before the dog days of summer start. So guys are gonna go up, guys are gonna go down, but nothing like baseball season, man.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Go all the way back to the Brooklyn Dodgers, go all the way back to the Queens Giants. I love that shit. And you know my stance. If I was the GM, I would have traded prospects for a 1 year rental of Juan Soto. But that's just me. That's just me. that's going for it. But you know what? You can't be afraid to get fired sometimes, especially at a job like this, man. You're getting paid a lot of money, dude.
You have to. You'll be the risk you take, or you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. So why not just be damned if you do, instead of holding back and looking at the risk that you don't take. And I'll go back to our beloved football analogy of the New York Giants, where you really have more faith in Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley.
Ooh-wee. They got to feel pretty lucky that they're still gonna be cashing those checks from the Mara family this year, bro. For real.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Yeah, they having too much fun in the chat talking about pulling up on each other. Y'all ain't pulling up on nothing. Y'all live too far away from that. Be keep it friendly out there. We're all just here to talk sports. I don't know about you, man, but I see the hat. Let's get into the Masters, baby.
Let's go, baby. Let's go. Well, y'all know my friend over here, Mr. Cash Considerations out of Albuquerque, New Mexico. This dude, it might be a favorite, but if y'all don't know, picking a winner in golf is nearly impossible. Talk to me, RG.
All right, so looking into it, we got the odd sheet, and my favorite golfer is Brooks Koepka, and it's completely selfish why he's my favorite golfer, because he went to Florida State, and I like the Florida State Seminoles, so of course I'm always going to ride with the Seminole. And all he does is win majors. The only type of golf tournament he can win happens to be a major. So it's always worth it to give Brooks a look, even though he didn't make the cut. And then we sat down and we were like, well, is this the time that we make the move for it, or is this just a continuance of the heartbreak? And it turned out to make the risk that we decided to take absolutely paid off. We were able to get Rory at plus 650 for those of you who indulge in the sports of degenerates. We were able to get Rory pre-Masters tournament Wednesday night at plus 650. Had a horrible Thursday. Just the way that Thursday ended, it was like, I can't believe we fell for this again. But then Friday and Saturday, the dude came out and played like the rent was due and just made a extreme march up the leaderboard. Then we get to today. And if you don't believe that sports is a struggle and pain, that guy lost the lead on 3 different occasions today. And became the first guy to ever win the Masters having 4 double bogeys in the tournament. But it was just his time, he was due. So if you believe that adversity is a pleasure, I would definitely, for consideration to the court, as Exhibit A, give you Rory McIlroy's 2025 Masters win. Battled back. There were times where he pulled out that wedge, almost cost him twice. It cost him on 13, and then it cost him on 18. Almost cost him twice. And then they were saying that he had a lot of lazy swings, and you can tell things were starting to get into his head. And then he makes a hell of a shot on 15 to keep him into it, a hell of a shot on 17 to keep him into it, just to find the bunker and come 1 inch short to force the playoff with him and Justin Rose. Then you felt you needed Justin Rose to make a mistake, and Justin Rose misread his putt. If you look at the one that he hit initially on 18 to take the lead, to a tie Rory as he's coming off the course, that was a much more difficult putt from a lot farther away, and he drained it right down the middle of the cup. Then Rory, with the chance to win it, just is off by 4 blades of grass, and you just knew, oh man, here we go again. But not throwing him under the bus, because golf takes a skill and golf takes patience, and golf is a very hard sport. Justin Rose has choked in this situation before too. He's not good in one-on-one playoffs. This is the second time he now has lost a Masters on the first hole of a one-on-one playoff, and it just so happened to go the way of the guy who I bet money on Wednesday night. So big shout out to Hollywood, Northern Ireland. Big shout out. Big shout out to Big Rory, man. You got it done and you put some money in RG's pocket. Happy to
Let's
have it.
go, baby. Let's go, baby. Pour that Guinness in. Tip back some Jameson, bro. Your guy got you paid, and it's a great pick. If anyone pays attention at all, I actually watch golf more than we talk about on this show because it's obviously a niche type of sport on the national landscape. But Rory's been on fire this year. Winning the Players is one of the most prestigious tournaments of the year. He's been in the top couple in the leaderboard area the rest of the year so far. And for most mortal humans, it takes them playing Augusta many times to finally break through for a win, unless your name is Tiger Eldrick Woods. So it took Rory, 17 years to finally
17
climb
years.
the mountaintop. 17 years. What did he become? The sixth golfer, I believe, to complete the career Grand Slam. Only him and Tiger have done it since 1966. So this is rarefied air that Rory's putting himself in. And I'm so happy for him. He obviously had a couple of shots today where you're like, oh boy, is it in his head? Is it in his head? Because golf can get in your head. Fucking trust me. Last night, I'm on a par three. I hit one in the pond. I hit the next one in the pond. This sport can be fucking maddening, bro. And I'm just happy for Rory. I just want to give a quick shout out to two shots. One, I want to say was probably 8 or 9 or so. And I did get a little crazy. One of the best shots I've ever seen. 9-iron, completely over the trees, dropping a dime. I don't even know how he could get over the trees. I would definitely have to hit a low screamer and just lay up. Then you were one of the ones you were talking about for sure coming down this home stretch. Uh, just a crazy power draw around the tree, lands on the green, funnels right down to the hole. Unfreaking believable. Rory McIlroy is actually one of the most talented golfers ever. This guy is so powerful. He hits the ball with so much freaking velocity. Oh my freaking goodness. I told RG on our text, I was like, I don't know if he's an intricate enough golfer to get it done. He had what? You said 4 doubles, the most ever for a champion? So he is a fallible player, but he can make just some of the most incredible shots you could ever imagine. And he did that to help get it done.
He did, man. He answered the call when it came time for it. Answered the call for it. And he had been chasing the last of his Infinity Stones for 11 years now. 11 years to have a chance to put yourself in a level of golf that isn't that easily obtainable. If it was, there would be a lot more than 6 guys who have completed the career Grand Slam. I even made the comment earlier in the week in our group chat that, this is his Eleanor. For those of you who are of Gone in 60 Seconds lore, it's the one car that no matter how many chances he gets of stealing, he can get close to it, but it just never can get it through the finish line. And even today, for 18 to go the way for him that it did, and then to come back out and put it away in the playoff, you could feel that emotion coming through the TV, and it made for a good watch. It definitely made for a good watch. And I used to be of the naive thinking when I was a teenager, and glad that I had to grow up. There is no such thing as a white sport. There's no such thing as a black sport. Sports are sports, and if you have a chance to, and if you dedicate yourself to it, you can be good at anything. And everything is worth the watch. Everything is worth the watch. If you don't like Premier League soccer, I'll tell you, you don't like money. Because if you think NFL players get the bag, if you found out what half those league contracts and La Liga and things like that were worth, it's enough to make you want to pay attention. So sports unites us more than it divides us. And just happy to be open to the game of golf, currently learning how to play the game of golf. Not to try to compete or anything, but it would be good to just have a weekend. We could just go out there and spray the ball around the field and hopefully not lose a box of 20 and maybe only lose 4 or 5 while you're out there. But it definitely is a great sport to watch, a great sport to follow. And shout outs to Roy McIlroy, the winner of the 2025 Masters.
Let's go, baby. I had so much fun, and I'm with Tyson. Although I love golf, I don't sit down and watch a lot of it in straight consecutive hours. I'm like that guy that comes in for the last few on a Sunday, and I watch a lot of highlights though. I watch a lot of highlights, and that is where I actually do kind of miss the old school sports center, dude. I miss just like the highlights. I just miss that highlight package show, and I guess we just get it in different ways, man. You go on YouTube, you go on TikTok, wherever you're getting those videos at. But you're right, man. Congratulations, Rory and Justin Rose gave it a hell of a ride, man. I didn't know if a guy at his age could really make that type of run like he did. He might not be an all-time great, but other than him, it's basically all-time greats that have been old dudes to come close or even win.
I think he is. I think he is.
Okay.
He's won some good prestigious tournaments. He has his major. Also has a gold medal. Also has an Olympic gold medal.
Oh,
And
okay.
it's been 2 years as world number one. So I definitely think that Justin Rose is a great golfer for it. Maybe we don't give him the recognition because he is from the other side of the pond and he doesn't have a polarizing personality. When the whole live golf thing came up and guys were jumping, Rory and Tiger were leading the front about it. And, Rory definitely has that bravado about him that, Justin being an Englishman is a little bit more reserved, but Justin Rose is a good golfer. Justin Rose is a good golfer. He suffered his share of heartbreak at the Masters as well, too. So now maybe he's the sentimental favorite going into next year, unless Eldrick can come back one more time.
Oh, baby. Okay, I gotta just wrap with you really quick on this, RG. So I'm talking to my wife just about the Masters. She just had a couple of questions, and it's such an intimate field. I think there's like maybe 50 to 75 players get invited. Many tournaments, it's like 110 to even 150. So this is a very intimate tournament. And I told her now Rory, because he won, has a lifetime exemption to play in this. If he wanted to, Katie, he could come in and play at 80 years old if he wanted to. And so she asked me, RG, does that mean Tiger could possibly come back? And I was like, hell yeah, Tiger, just do it one more time for us.
One more. It's his course. It is absolutely his course. It's just his health, man. It's just his health,
Oh,
and you know the way the pure violence and brutality of the way he used to hit the golf ball when he was younger has definitely taken his toll on his back and his lower extremities. But if there's a guy you want to see get one more chance to put on that green jacket and tie the all-time record, it is absolutely Eldrick.
oh, baby. We we'd be remiss that you honestly let's bring this up, dude. So you were just bringing up Jackie Robinson Day is right around the corner. It's a historic day for pro sports in general that I think should probably be celebrated for any league that plays on said day. Shout out to our favorite baseball player Ken Griffey Jr. for being the one to bring up the idea to the league office in the first place back in the 90s. Great job, Junior. But Tiger Woods is also critical to promoting a sport, man. We all know how big of fans that everyone was of Tiger Woods. And for you, especially, for me in my own way, seeing a guy like Tiger playing golf and winning majors and dominating the sport made other people think that I could maybe go play golf too.
Absolutely, man. If you didn't think you can get out there and play, you damn sure about all those video games, uh, playing with your homies at the house. Um, when I said I wanted to talk something a little bit baseball, it was definitely about Jackie Robinson Day. And we tried not to touch into the political world on this show. There's plenty other platforms where you can get as much or as little politics as you want. We choose to be one of the ones that give you the little as possible. But this Jackie Robinson Day to me means just a little bit more than the rest of them, just because there was the attempt to scrub any mention from him and his military service off of the websites. and an uproar was caused because of it. I am also of the belief, too, that this generation can't blame the last few generations for the things that happened to us in the past. Because we live in this world where there's an opportunity for any man to go out and do anything if he's willing to work for it. But I also think it's an injustice to ignore the struggle and the things that he fought for. And not just for him, but there were teammates who were willing to fight that fight as well, too. They may not have been as receptive as the beginning, but to see him go through those things, a lot of teammates stood up. And it was, if he's not welcome here, we're not welcome here. Just, I get it. I absolutely get it. The easiest way to change history is to act like it didn't happen and didn't exist. But don't do that to Jackie Robinson, because Jackie Robinson meant a lot to a lot of people, regardless of what you look like. And his sacrifice can never be tainted or erased from it. They're not going to take down his statues at UCLA. They're not going to unretire his number. It's celebrated the way that it should be. Because even though the door was open, he still had to fight like hell to get accepted. And he didn't come push it down your throat. He wanted his game to be able to do the talking for him. And the game did enough talking for him. I completely get it. I completely get it, no matter what side of the DEI fence that you're on. I get it from both sides. But don't sweep Jackie Robinson up into it. Not a man
Amen.
who deserves to have every accolade that comes his way.
RG, correct me if I'm wrong, but I literally think that he's the most important person in pro sports history, and it probably isn't that close when you think about it.
Believe so. Believe so, because it tore down barriers. It tore down barriers for everybody.
And he had to take
Not just for
hell.
people of color. And it took hell.
He had to take hell for doing what he did. It's not like he broke the color barrier and it was all sunshine and rainbows. We know, in fact, in a lot of situations, it was still the exact opposite.
Yeah, man. Just there's enough to be divided about. There's enough to be divided about. But what was insulting was he did give his service to the military. Probably one of the most famous people to ever enter the military. Because when you talk about Ted Williams, you'll talk about how Ted Williams could have had more records had he not have spent 3 years in the military. But yeah, you want to take that part of Jackie Robinson's page down? Kiss my ass.
Yeah, no doubt. I want to give a shout out then to Willie Mays as well, who spent a year away from baseball in the Korean War. And I just want to say this because we don't want to get into a huge back and forth or anything like that. But these are earned accomplishments. This ain't no free handout. These are real accomplishments that have major impacts on how all of us have lived our lives going forward. RG, I think baseball is so beautiful too because we have the Jackie Robinson situation for like you and for all sorts of people like myself and others. Baseball's so important though. I want to take you back to World War II, the internment camps that 125,000 Japanese Americans got sent to. My grandparents got married in an internment camp, but playing baseball is what gave them hope in those camps. Baseball is so important to so many people in this country for many different reasons.
True. True. It's America's pastime for a reason. Football may be the most popular one right now, but baseball is America's pastime for a reason. Nothing more patriotic than baseball on the 4th of July.
Oh, hell yeah.
Baseball has a great history of great men who have done great things. Don't diminish a single part of it.
Amen. I think just so poignant.
True.
Great
Oh
job, bro.
man, we will touch on it a little bit. Kyron Lacy was found dead in Houston today at the age of 23, a wide receiver from Louisiana State who started his career at the University of Louisiana. Tough situation, man. And earlier, maybe 4 or 5 weeks ago, he was the subject of an investigation about a car wreck that I believe took the life of someone else. And then now here we are, a couple days, a few weeks removed from that, and now that man's life has come to an end. The last report that I read, there was no cause of death. Yet a lot of that hadn't been broken yet, but just a heartbreaking situation of another young life cut short that was so full of potential. I attest this to Henry Ruggs from Alabama, who played for the Raiders. Just you have like life is very intricate, man. Um, you only have a couple chances to do things right, and zig when you should have zagged, bob when you should have weaved. I know at 41, almost 42 years old, I could go back and look at important milestones in my life and wish I could have had them to do all over again. And there's a saying that I tell Indy, just because I'm a lot older than Indy is youth is wasted on the young. So while you have a chance to make sure you do it right before you spend the majority of your life trying to make it right. And I say that because of my personal story and what I've come from and the things that I've done. I I still feel that I owe it to the people who cared about me to make restitution to the wrong of things that I chose to do in my adolescence. And lucky enough to be able to wake up to have a chance to say I'm sorry and to do things better for the life that I had ruined. Um, but now a guy like Kyron Lacy is not going to get that chance. And I absolutely hate seeing it. I hate seeing people who didn't even have a chance to see their 25th birthday go way too soon for crazy reasons. I can even talk about rappers if I wanted to. Pop Smoke, Young Dolph, Triple X, Juice World, just so many added to that list. Even Biggie and Tupac. Only Biggie got to live to be 25 and didn't get to be 25 for very long. Just life is very, very precious and you should respect all of it. Because if you don't, when it's time to pay the piper for that, you can absolutely end up paying with your life. Tough situation for a man to be in. Tommy puts up in the post that he believes he unalived himself. I can't say that just because I didn't haven't read anything official. If you got any official links you wouldn't mind dropping for us, we'll be glad to take a look at it. But tough situation for a tough man to be at. We pray for all the families involved.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. I just, all I want to really add on is a lot of us have grown up where you kind of bury some things deep inside. Football players, that's a culture that takes that even a step further. You're supposed to be a tough guy. You're supposed to overcome adversity. Don't be afraid to reach out to loved ones if you need help. That's simple.
Absolutely, absolutely. Don't be afraid to tell someone you're hurting, and don't be afraid to tell someone you need help.
No doubt, no
Someone
doubt.
out there gives a damn somewhere.
I know. And this is one thing I also want to add because both of us have, brought home paychecks from driving trucks on the roads and whatnot. Be safe out there with your vehicle, people. It's a huge responsibility out there, and the wrong decisions can take lives. And there's a lot of remorse in this world. If I was driving a vehicle and even took someone else's life on accident, driving responsibly, which does happen in this world. RG, I don't know how I could live with myself. The worst of the worst happens. Sometimes it can be a little kid. So just if you need help, reach out to your loved ones, even call one of those professional hotlines. And also, please drive safely.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Just take care of it, man. You only got one. You only got
Yeah, no
one, and
doubt.
there's no such thing as a life that's better than yours.
Damn, man, we got deep all of a sudden. But hey, we want to keep it real out here, and sometimes you got to be a little bit serious amongst all the fun. And I'm just really glad that you brought up the whole Jackie Robinson thing because it really needs to be a bigger holiday than it is. But baseball's kind of gotten on the background of a lot of people's minds, so that's where we're at.
You know, Big T called it a dying sport a couple weeks back, and I kind of disagree with that, just because I'm a fan and I think it's more I think is real popular now, especially with the way that players are allowed to show their personalities. Even the Yankees have gone back on their timely tradition of having to be clean shaven and have a clean face, and just let you be you and just come out and let your game do the talking for us. There's a lot that tries to tell us what we can and what we can't do, and what we should be allowed and what not. Let's just cut the BS, man. Every person deserves to be who they are, and I may not agree with everything else for it, but I'm not the one that's going to ultimately judge you for that. Um, I just love sports. I just love the way that it is, and I wish that there was the disconnect between them where certain things, as far as sports go, didn't become political cries for hidden agendas. Um, but that's just what life is too. Not everything is going to go your way. Not everything is sunshines and berries. There'll be things you do and don't agree with. Just it's not worth fighting for if that's not what you paid for. Yeah. Yeah. You just never know. You just never know. Be willing to come to the table and just have open conversations about everything, you know. But we don't want to end on a sad note. Again, we do pray for all the families involved. And just to give you a heads up, next Sunday I might be a little bit MIA or late to the party because it is one of my favorite times of the year. Next Saturday and Sunday is the 41st edition of WrestleMania, and my black ass will be glued to a TV.
Oh, baby. Well, let's just do a quick segment, man. You know all my favorites like Stone Cold, HBK, The Ultimate Warrior, The Rock. No, 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 man. I know I'm in yesteryear. What is going to be headlining the biggest event of the season?
The John Cena heel turn story gets the nod for Sunday night, where he'll be going up against Cody Rhodes for the WWE Undisputed Championship. John Cena has promised that if he wins, he's going to retire with the belt and put an end to it. I think that Triple H, now that he is in the position of being the new version of Vince McMahon, is absolutely showing his ass. Uh, Interest is really good. And then one thing that I noticed that they're not doing this year is having to flood the bill with a lot of guys from yesteryear in order to make it happen. But one down theme that I have noticed is a trend is it is extremely overpriced. It is extremely overpriced. When me and you went to WrestleMania, I went the year before you did in Toronto, you went in Seattle, you talked about how you and your friends copped some tickets for $25. There's a documentary out about a former older WrestleMania in the 90s, and they talked about how it was important for them for their events to be able to offer a $25 ticket. Those days are gone, buddy. Those days are gone. $25 ain't getting you a beer at some of these stadiums and some of these events anymore. And the most important thing about next Sunday is that it is Easter Sunday. Um, but yeah, it'll just be a good time to spend with family and friends. And we might get to the show a little bit later, but we will try to have something as far as content that comes out for you guys next week. But I'm really excited about it. I always have been. Um, and also next week too is the rapid weekend for Coachella. I don't know how many of you are into the whole live concert thing. The first two nights were really fun. Missy Elliott had a killer performance. Last night I watched Travis Scott, even though it didn't get started till almost 1 o'clock in the morning for me locally living here. May not be a huge fan of a lot of his music, but just the energy in that crowd and just the way that they did his performance was just nuts. Um, Even they talked about Lady Gaga had put on a master class on how to be a superstar during her performance. So if you're bored looking for something to do, go ahead and throw in that YouTube channel. They are showing all their stages live. I believe tonight the headliner is Post Malone. He had some pretty good jams, so got a way to rock out the rest of the evening.
Let's do it, baby. Hey, that's up my alley. Sports and music, and I'm probably gonna be cool.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Love it. Anything else you got for the people?
Thank you to all the homies in the live chat. Congratulations, Rory and Mariners. Let's turn it around and fricking go, baby. At some point, it doesn't matter who you didn't bring in. It's about the guys you're on the field with, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And if I see something I like this week and we can get to it early enough, we will still try to post some plays up. Do apologize for last weekend and couldn't tell some of you that we were looking at taking Rory. But yeah, have a good Easter weekend, a good WrestleMania weekend. This has been My Own Mice, another sports podcast brought to you by the good folks at Vacant Podcast Services, responsible for bringing us to you each and every Sunday here on YouTube. And don't forget, if you can't catch us live, the recording of the episode does drop Tuesday morning where you like to get your favorite podcast from. Big shout out to our super producer, Indy. Went through some injuries this week, as well as recovering from the natural disasters, but was still able to get the job done and help produce us a live show this week. And a big shout out to him. None of this is possible without the effort that he puts into it. A big shout out to our social media director, Miss Katie Matsumoto. Thank you for all you do as well too. And don't forget, you can follow us on our socials at MyOMyASP. Follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, TikTok, Instagram, anywhere you like to get your content from. Me and Ty to find a way for you to be there. That's the homie Ty Toss coming to you from Little Lake Stevens, Washington. Our boy Andy rocking the wheels of steel for you in Nashville, Tennessee. I represent the Cinco Cero Cinco coming to you from the 505. I'm that dude RG, and we hope to see you next week for another episode of My Own Mice, another sports podcast.